He rode 3,000 miles to claim his father's ranch but found the land taken and the truth hidden in Spanish Mexico. The sun hung low over the endless plains of Texas like a blood-red badge pinned to the sky, casting long shadows that danced with the dust kicked up by a lone rider. Jack Harlan had been in the saddle for months, crossing rivers, mountains, and badlands that would break lesser men. 3,000 miles from the bustling streets of Boston, where he'd built a life as a lawyer far from the wild frontier of his youth. But the telegram had pulled him back. His father, old Tom Harlan, was dead, and the Barh ranch was his by right. Or so he thought. Jack's horse, a sturdy bay named Rusty, plodded wearily up the final rise overlooking the valley where the ranch nestled. The sight that greeted him twisted his gut like a rusty knife. Fences torn down, cattle scattered or gone, and the old homestead burned to charred timbers. In its place stood a new outfit, grand barns, a sprawling house with whitewashed walls, and men in fancy boots lounging on the porch. This wasn't his father's land anymore. It belonged to someone else. Reining in Rusty, Jack adjusted the Colt .45 on his hip, its weight a familiar comfort. He spurred down the hill, his duster coat flapping like wings of vengeance. As he approached, a group of riders emerged from the shadows, led by a man with a silver star badge glinting on his chest. Sheriff Elias Crow, Jack reckoned, from the descriptions in his father's last letters. "Whoa there, stranger," Crow drawled, his hand resting casually on his revolver. "This here's private property. State your business or turn tail." Jack's eyes narrowed under the brim of his Stetson. "Name's Jack Harlan. This land's mine. Belonged to my pa, Tom Harlan. He got papers to prove it." The sheriff's lips curled into a smirk, revealing tobacco-stained teeth. "Tom Harlan? That old coot's been pushin' up daisies for nigh on a year. Land was seized for back taxes. Sold at auction to Mr. Victor Slade. Legitimitas a preacher's sermon. Taxes?" Jack spat the word like venom. "Pa wrote me just before he died. Said the ranch was clear, deed in order. Jure lien, Croy." The sheriff's men chuckled, fingers twitching near their holsters. "Careful, boy. Accusing, a lawman ain't healthy, round these parts. Read on, or we'll bury you next to your pa." Jack's hand hovered over his gun, but he wasn't fool enough to draw on 6 men. He wheeled Rusty around and rode off, the laughter echoing behind him. But he didn't go far. In the nearby town of Dust Creek, he tied up at the saloon, the Rusty Nail, where the air reeked of whiskey and unwashed bodies. Pushing through the swinging doors, Jack ordered a shot and listened to the murmurs. The barkeep, a grizzled vet named Hank, slid him the glass. "You look like trouble waitin' to happen, son." "Lookin' for answers," Jack replied, downing the burn. "About the Barh ranch. My pa's place." Hank's eyes darted around before leaning in. Tom was a good man. But he crossed Slade. That eastern moneybag bought up half the county. Says Tom owed him, but I heard different. Sometin, about a deed hidden south of the border, in Mexico. Tom had ties there, old Spanish land grants from way back. Mexico? Jack's interest peaked. His father had spoken little of his past, but whispers of Mexican roots lingered. Aye. Were these, the real deeds in some pueblo down in Chihuahua? Hidden by Tom's old partner, a fella named Diego Ramirez. But crossing, the Rio Grande ain't for the faint. Bandits, federales, and Slade's got eyes everywhere. Jack tossed a coin on the bar. "Thanks, Hank. Reckon I've got more riding to do." That night, under a blanket of stars, Jack camped in the hills. Sleep came fitful, haunted by memories of his father, teaching him to rope calves, telling tales of the open range. Come down, he headed south, the border a hazy line on the horizon. The Rio Grande was swollen from spring rains, but Jack forded it at a shallow crossing, Rusty swimming strong. On the Mexican side, the land turned rugged, cacti standing sentinel like silent warriors. He rode through dusty villages where peasants eyed him warily, their Spanish tongues clipping words he half understood from his pa's lessons. In the town of San Miguel, he found a cantina buzzing with mariachi music. "Sipping tequila?" he asked after Diego Ramirez. An old vaquero with a scarred face nodded toward the hills. "El viejo Diego?" Lives in the ruins of Hacienda Vieja. But beware, gringo. The truth you seek comes with blood. Jack pressed on, the trail winding into arid mountains. Bandits ambushed him at a narrow pass, 3 men on horseback, rifles gleaming. Your money, señor, or your life. Jack drew fast, his colt barking twice. One bandit fell, another fled wounded. The third charged, but Jack's bullet found its mark. Panting, he reloaded and continued, the weight of killing settling like dust on his soul. Hacienda Vieja was a ghost of Spanish colonial glory. Crumbling adobe walls overgrown with vines. Diego Ramirez, a weathered Mexican in his 70s, sat on a porch whittling wood. His eyes, sharp as a hawk's, sized up Jack. You Tom's bo? Diego asked in accented English. You got his fire. Jack dismounted, hat in hand. Yesir. Come for the truth about the ranch. Sheriff says it's gone, but I reckon there's more. Diego sighed, inviting him inside. Over coffee laced with chili, he spun the tale. Your father and I rode together in the old days. We claimed that land under a Spanish grant from the king himself, back when Mexico was New Spain. But when Texas broke free, the papers got complicated. Tom hid the original deed here, in case American courts turned sour. Why hide it? Jack pressed. It's late. That snake knew about the grant. It predates Texas statehood, makes the land untouchable by taxes or sales. Tom was killed, ambushed on the trail. Slade's doing, to claim it. But the deed's the key. It's buried under the old chapel altar. Together, they dug it up that night, a yellowed parchment in elegant Spanish script, sealed with wax. This proves the bar H is yours, free and clear, Diego said. But Slade won't give it up easy. Jack clasped the old man's hand. Gracias, amigo. Pa spoke highly of you. Ride safe, hijo. The border's a mean place. Back north, Jack evaded patrols, the deed tucked in his saddlebag. Word must have spread, for as he neared Dust Creek, Slade's men waited. A posse of 10, led by Crow, blocked the road. Hand it over, Harlin, Crow snarled. Or d'ye hear? Jack's heart pounded, but his voice was steel. This deed's legal. A Spanish grant. You can't touch it. Slade himself rode up, a portly man in a tailored suit, cigar clamped in his teeth. Spanish nonsense won't hold in a Texas court. Boys, take him. The air exploded with gunfire. Jack dug behind Rusty, who neighed in terror. It fired back, dropping 2 men. Bullets whizzed like angry bees. Crow charged, but Jack's shot shattered his knee, sending him tumbling. Slade, panicking, aimed his derringer. You'll hang for this. Jack rolled, firing once. The bullet struck Slade's shoulder, spinning him from his horse. The remaining men, seeing their boss down, scattered like leaves in the wind. In the aftermath, Jack stood over Slade. It's over. The ranch is mine. Slade grunted. You don't know who you're dealing with. Eastern money. Save it for the judge, Jack cut in, binding his wounds roughly. With Slade and Crow in chains, Jack rode to the county seat. The judge, an honest man weary of corruption, examined the deed. This Spanish grant predates the Republic. Valid as gold. Bar H is yours, Mr. Harlin. Word spread like wildfire. Folks in Dust Creek cheered as Jack rebuilt the homestead, hiring hands loyal and true. Diego even crossed the border to visit, sharing stories under the stars. But Jack never forgot the ride, the 3,000 miles that forged him anew, nor the truth hidden in Spanish Mexico that set him free. In the end, the West wasn't just land, it was blood, honor, and the unyielding pursuit of justice. As the sun set on the Bar H, Jack Harlan sat on the porch, his father's old rifle across his lap, knowing he'd earned every acre. Word count, 1412.